Hello, welcome to another Together We Feel panel show on this Monday, June 22nd. We are here with a Come As You Are panel today, and I've got my good friends with me, Erin Copeland, Kim Mosman, Tara Mae Temple, joining us from all the different corners of North America. We got a little Midwest, we got a little deep South. Florida's not even deep South, it's just tropical. It's just tropical. Tara joining us from our good friends in the North. And I'm here on the West Coast of California this morning, all the different time zones. We're here to greet you. And for me, I was talking to these friends before we got on, and I'm like stunned that we're at almost the mid-year point of 2026. It's like, geez Louise, I was just saying Happy New Year. Come on, what is happening here? But also, it's always kind of a reflection point for me of like, okay, what have we done so far? What's working? What's not working? Not just in my work, but just in my life. Like, how am I moving my body? What are my what's going on in my relationships? It's just like a good time to pause and reflect. And if, do you need to shift anything? Have I taken on too much? Can I take on more? All the things in my life that I kind of like, where are we halfway through 2026? And so wondering if people out there are thinking that too. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on that in the comments, or even later, if you can't listen to this live later. Curious what halfway through point through the year means for you. For us here, we had a family wedding a couple of weeks ago. My oldest daughter, has moved much closer to me. She's now in Central California coast. I can get to her easy. I leave on Thursday morning to spend a 4-day weekend with her. That hasn't been possible before. My youngest daughter is hanging out with us right now. She's a very talented graphic designer, but she does contract work, so she can move around freely and kind of work from anywhere with the way her work works. So she's hanging out with us right now, and she's going to go with me, go hang out with her sister as they remodel a house on the Central California coast. So that's kind of like a new treat that like, I get to go see Sierra like this weekend, and I'm going to get in my car and drive and not go to an airport and fly and do all these things. So it's a fun new thing that's developed in the first half of 2026 that I get to enjoy. And so enjoying that. My husband's getting to a point. June is crazy for him. He's a fundraiser at a major university, and it's the end of fiscal year, June 30th. And so in fundraising terms, that means you're getting all those gifts in that you can to try to set the goals and make the goals for the year. And he's nose to the grindstone and trying to get that out. So I get him back July 1st. That's part of the reason we're going on Thursdays. Dad's in wind down mode. He's dialed in. He's focused. We did get him to take a little time off over the weekend. So knowing that I get him back in July, I always look forward to July, because we really protect our time in July for about a 6-week period where I'm very mindful. And it's a little bit tricky because our 5-year anniversary is July 12th. We're doing the celebration on July 14th because I don't want to get on live on Sunday, and nobody really wants to listen to me on Sunday. They want to go to the lake or their swimming pool or the beach or anything else. So we're doing it on July 14th, but it's a big one. It's a 5-year one. So a lot of energy, a lot of time. We're planning a campaign for it. And so unfortunately for him, he doesn't really get my full energy till July 15th. Really from July 15th to August 14th, which is also our anniversary and also the week things gear back up for him again. I protect that time very carefully. I'm very specific about I don't do a lot or any recording unless there's some kind of an emergency. Somebody had to reschedule. I don't do guest stops. I do the bare, and like we keep rolling out podcast episodes and we keep rolling out blogs, but I'm very lucky that I've had a team with me for long enough now that they can just we have a system. We can come in and out of vacation. They can schedule things ahead of time, and it will just continue to roll out. And so I'm really protective of that time in the summer. And sometimes we have places we go, and sometimes it's just like I just say no to anything that's not specific to the time I want to spend. And give energy to the people I love. So that's something that I think about in June a lot as we approach the second half of the year. And I think at this 5-year anniversary, there's been a lot of reflection about where we've been and where we're going. And I ended up redoing our entire homepage on our website because I had a meeting with a friend last week and realized this no longer reflects who we are now. And I think that's an important step to not just take in your work life, but in your life. That's why I created the field framework in the first place, is you stop and pause. And you're like, this no longer reflects where we are now. So, let's do a reassessment. Let's take a look at, am I still engaging in ways that fill my cup, that are aligned with my values? That do I need to reset some boundaries, or do I need to communicate some new ones? I mean, just all of these things. And does my calendar reflect and my life reflect who I am today? And I think, a lot of you have been doing that. Erin's doing that right now with the books that she created 10 years ago. She's checking in with herself and realizing this is a great time to take advantage of a 10-year anniversary. And also, I want it to reflect who I am today. And so that's really what I've been doing across the board with these changes in my family's location and with this growth, just recognizing, it's been a good time to check in. And so I redid all the messaging. I have a couple of great friends here in Fresno who are branding and website knowledgeable and can take a look at your material. And they very generously do this. Sometimes we barter, like, I'll give you this if you give me that kind of thing. But generally understand the work. And so they're like, hey, if you did this, this, and this, I think you could really shift some things. Have you thought about this for messaging? This is how I experience you today. And so, yeah, so I my team, I'm like, look at the homepage. I completely redid it. They're like, oh my God. And a lot of it's just about language. So yeah, a lot of reflecting, and then also being, not being afraid to speak up what I know we're worth and be honest about what it is we're doing and the community we're trying to build here. And so we'll be doing a campaign, and you'll hear more about it in the coming weeks, where I just lost my words. Online course. Our online course will be 1 year old July 1st. Kimmy here helped me create a wonderful workbook that goes with that online course. So we'll be doing some specials with our online course. All of our online courses will be 50% off, which is a big, from July 1st to August 31st. So that'll be part of it that we'll be promoting. The other thing I'm really trying to do, and this is really, it's around building community, because I see this as the next iteration, and also being honest that it takes resources to do this work. And so we're going to do a 500 paid subscribers for our 5-year anniversary at $5 a month or $50 a year by July 31st. July 31st is the only thing that didn't have a 5 in it, and that, whatever. I couldn't make all that work. So, and you're going to be hearing from me because I really feel like this is the next place we can really build community, have live conversations. And my hope is, as you become a paid subscriber, you not only get access to a ton of great archived content to tap into, and maybe conversations you missed. You can watch book clubs later if you can't be with them live, all those things, but also a place where we can gather together that will be specific to paid subscribers, of weekly conversations, of you get to be part of my, conversation about that week's empowerment session, but really creating that next safe place of community. So yes, if we can get to 500 subscribers, it pays for about a year's worth of our work. That's a huge deal for me, because I have been draining our savings the last 5 years. And my husband's like, I'd like to retire someday. So, but also, I really do feel like it's that great next place to connect. So a lot going on for me in my head as I've been doing this, but I think that, going back to the fact that I think this is just a really great time for us to reconnect and pause, to reconnect and pause and see where we are in the world. So that was it's been a lot of time on me today. That was longer than I usually like to spend, but I had a lot to say, and it's come as you are, and these people love me. So here we are. So, all right, Erin, my friend, I've mentioned your book. and talked about that a little bit. How are things feeling in that? And just how are you today in this Come As You Are?
I mean, I'm fantastic. And I'll be interested to hear in the comments from our viewers. You know how when you go to therapy and you're in the car and you think you know what you're going to talk about, and then you go to therapy and you talk about something completely different? That's what the Come As You Are panel is like.
That is so true.
So I'm in the shower. I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk about where am I today? Actually, reflection. Where am I today? I'm coming as I am. How do I feel today? What am I bringing to the table? Like, okay. And I got it laid out. And then Melissa, and I've got like arrows and notes and like insanity all mapped out on my paper from Melissa's intro. So, I mean, I'm going to start with the Deep South because I was actually, my husband and I were watching a YouTube. I don't remember the name of the couple. I think they were from the UK and they were visiting America. And they had gone to a couple different places. And the wife was like, I don't understand. Like, we've been to Miami. So, like, we were in the Deep South. And I was like, no,
you weren't. No.
I understand when you look on the map how you think you're in the South because
geographically, yes.
That's not the Deep South. And no. And I'm so sorry that America is so confusing. She's like, none of this makes any sense. And we don't make any sense. The book is fun. So it's actually what spurred this refresh of Welcome to Caregiving is Jerry's 10-year transplant anniversary. And so that's what got me going. It was actually his transplant surgeon who we do projects together and different things, with between surgeons and caregivers and things. So I'm still in communication with him. He's a fantastic human being. And he was like, I mean, what are you going to do? That's a big deal. 10 years for an organ transplant. It's a big deal. I was like, I don't know. And then the idea of the book came through, just like it came through when I wrote it the first time. I was like, why are you writing this? Because I have to. And so reflecting on how I've changed and who I've become and how the journey it changed me and shaped me and changes the way I think and how I feel about things and all of the things that I learned, like it blows my mind just how much I've learned, and even not related to the transplant, but then the other care I've given for my grandparents through their end of life care with my mom and dementia, and now in a memory care facility. Like, 2 years ago, I didn't even know what the word palliative meant. Like someone's like, oh, well, palliative care is the only option. I'm like, okay, Google, what the hell does palliative mean? Because it's not like they tell you. And so the learning it continues. And Kim is helping me with the refresh. And so I'm super excited to be working with her on that and meeting her through this community. And that's why I love what you're building here so much, Melissa. And then it's just interesting what comes up when we do reflect, because first of all, I'm just going to say time is fake and it's all made up. So if we're going to choose to reflect, count years. But there's good things and there's bad things. And there's things, I'm rereading my book. And like, I've been stuck in a whole part for a week because every time I read it, I cry. And it was just a very emotional time for me. And I learned so much, but I see this version of me in those pages. And I love her so much. And I watch her fighting things and holding on to things. And there's a whole chapter I read and I was like, honey, none of that was yours. Why were you even having this conversation? Why were you holding on to that shit? That wasn't yours. That wasn't yours. So reflection's interesting.
Yeah.
Reflection's interesting.
Yeah.
And if I do have time, I have one thing that I did want to bring to this table because I would like everybody's input on this concept. because we all serve people in one way or another. Mm-hmm. So going back to the concept of therapy, it was now like a month ago, I went to make an appointment with a therapist who I'd worked with for quite a long time, and they didn't have time in their schedule. And that was fine. It was nothing, I just needed a little refresh. It was nothing detrimental. I was like, you know what? It's okay. And I was just going to kind of tap out of it. And they came back and said, well, I can squeeze you in. Oh. And I got pissed.
Yeah, I just don't think that's something, the language a therapist office should ever use.
I was like, don't do me any favors. But I have had some people that are like, how amazing that someone is making space for you. But it didn't feel that way. So I talked to recently a different therapist, like, maybe I need to shake it up a little bit, get a little different perspective. People say things in a different way that sometimes clicks with you, which is why there's so many of us beautiful souls talking about all of these things, because we hear things a different way at the right time. Mm-hmm. And I think they told me like 4 times how busy they are. Super busy. But that I seemed so committed and they wanted to help me. And so again, they would fit me in and they would make space. And it was all these things. And I was like, it was an interesting reflection on values. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be fit in.
Yeah.
I want this space to be there for me to flow in. And I don't want someone who is, I've worked so hard on my boundaries. I don't want someone who's crossing their own boundaries to get me in, because what version of them am I going to get?
That's just it. The first thing that came to my mind is, how present are you going to be if you're squeezing me in or fitting me in? How distracted are you going to be about the ways that you squeezed me in on each side? Yeah, that's exactly. My thought was like,
so I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. And I acknowledge I presented it in a very specific way. I was not neutral about it, but I'm curious what you think.
Tara, you go first.
Yeah, I'm thrown aback by that response when people in that profession are supposed to be out there helping you with your mental and emotional health, right? So it makes you kind of feel like they're putting like the client on a lower pedestal when they say, I'm just going to fit you in. So I totally get it. I think I would have felt the same way had I got that response from my therapist as well. But we want somebody who could be 100% present and all in when they're caring for us and helping us address our issues. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you wanted to go look a different avenue for a different therapist or someone else in a different healing space that could help you with certain things, right? And I'm in kind of like that same boat where I've done psychotherapy for many, many years, but now I get to a point where I feel like you're hitting a wall where like they're just kind of helping you with the same kind of like techniques and things, but we're still feeling stuck in some way, right? Mm-hmm. I'm up against that. So now I'm looking at exploring different things like family constellations and energy healing and things like that, because I think what really weighs me down is these energetic cords of like being tied to our family and systems and ancestors. And I could feel that in my mind, body, spirit. And I'm just looking for different avenues to help me release that. So yeah, that just brought what you spoke to me about in mind. Like we don't need to stay in this box of healing the way we used to. It feels good to vent to a professional, but now I'm kind of getting out of that box and exploring, well, let's just see what other cultures and other traditions can offer in helping us with our mental and emotional health.
I love that. Because too, in my massage practice, I brought this whole concept back to me being a massage therapist as well. Like, how am I showing up for people? And if I decide, if I make the choice that, okay, I want to see somebody outside of my normal published hours, I can offer that time without saying I'm making an exception for you.
Right.
I can just say, you know what? My schedule changed. I can see you at 5:00.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they get to make the choice without, it was just this weird energy. Kim,
Yeah.
sorry. Melissa, I'm all getting all into it.
Yeah. Well, Kim, no, wait. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Kim? No,
My initial was, oh my gosh, that's so me. Because like my entire life, I've tried to be the people pleaser, the one who won't let you down. So if I've worked with you before and I'm really truly booked, like old Kim really was going to make time for Aaron, and I would have shown up for you, and I wouldn't have done less for you, but I would have shortchanged me. And you know, so, and it's interesting that you bring this up because I don't live in a world of appointments. I live in a world of deadlines, right? Like I make a commitment to people, and it's so hard to not step up and get the thing done, right? Because we live in a world that expects, like, if I don't do what they want, they can go somewhere else, and all they have to do is get on Google and find them. So what I've really tried to do is say, yes, I have space for this in this amount of time, or yes, I'd love to work with you, but I can't start until, because I have a feeling that if this person would have said to you, Aaron, my schedule's really booked, but I've got time where I can really sit with you, but it's not for a couple of weeks. That would have been just fine because
and they actually offered me that the first one, and I was like, you know what? I actually like, I'm cool. And I made my choice.
I'm with you. And so I went out to coffee this morning with a friend. Like I've never sat with a therapist, which just seems really crazy to me because there are so many things that I could work out. But instead I was sitting with someone this morning, a good friend. We've been friends for many, many years, but those friendships where you see each other once a year and it's just, you just jump. And I was thinking to myself, that person, in her inability to sit with you today, you probably would have just gone out to coffee with a girlfriend and like worked through a few things until you could have sat with a therapist and not felt like you were just being wedged in.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're all on your side. We all agree.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, and Kim, I haven't told you this separately, but I appreciate so much the way you do work and how you do set expectation, because I think that is a huge thing, especially when you're working with someone and you're in a creative space, because Kim's menu of service is so clear. It's like, these are the containers that I work in, and how can I help you work in these containers? And this is how much for this component. And it's just like, not this mystery. And like, it almost took me a second to be like, wait, is this real? Because it was so clear and clean, and I appreciated it so much. So thank you.
Yeah, I thank you. And I just have to tell you, I do what I do because of I should have asked so many more questions before I started working with someone. And how many times have you been blindsided by people? And I don't like that. So
especially in the book space, like when I published my book the first time, I didn't know anything publishing a book. I just knew I wanted to self-publish because I didn't want anybody telling me to change my words. I was like, nobody else like is gonna. I can be like, well, you should talk about this at least. But I was like, no one's deciding that but me. This is my story, and that's how it's going out. And so that was the one thing. I wasn't gonna do hybrid. I wasn't gonna do like the fiction work I'm doing. Like maybe I would play with something like that, but not this story. No.
Yeah.
No, and I can jump in. Melissa and Tara, I don't know if you've read, but as I'm reading Aaron's book for the first time, I feel like I'm in your head. And that's the strangest thing for me, because often I read a book and I feel like I'm watching or I'm experiencing or I understand. But as I read your book, I feel like I'm in your head, and it's a whole new experience for me, and I mean, like, I truly meant I'm hooked because I wanna know what comes next. It's just wild to me. So, good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That's such a great description. That's what you're like, feel like you're in it with them. It makes it like so much more like compelling because you feel like you're on the ride with them. I
Mhm.
to kind of wrap up this point, Aaron, I think it brought up a lot of things like fact, in the moment and also kind of metaphorically, we want people to be present with us. And I think it's interesting. This is where the business model of therapy and the actual practice of therapy really bump up against each other because the business model is about how many people can we see and make X amount of dollars versus how present can I be and what's my bandwidth actually going to be to show up with this person, which is really where the therapy part, but the business part butts up against it. And it takes you out of your presence. It takes you out of healthy boundaries. It takes you out of communicating clear expectations, which is, your example of Kim communicates clear expectations. And I talk about this all the time. It's one thing to have healthy boundaries in your head and clear expectations in your head, but you must communicate them and you must communicate them clearly. The rest of the world is not a mind reader and not assuming that. And also when it comes to time, I really encourage people to not just look at your calendar as a measurement of hours in the day. Look at your calendar in terms of your bandwidth. The biggest shift I have made in my life in the last really 2 to 3 years. I mean, it's been since I started all of this is the understanding and the realization of what my actual bandwidth is. And that being the determinant of what I say yes and no to. And what sometimes I'll make last minute shifts on, like, I scheduled this 3 months ago. At the time, it seemed like a good idea. A lot's happened since then. I can't do this today. And if I will do a disservice to myself and to the person by trying to force feed this into this thing. And sometimes there's things you just gotta like, I made this commitment. They're in Australia. I need to. So what else can I move around me, or what can I do to prepare myself to be as healthy as possible? But for the most part, I think that bandwidth piece. But yeah, no one wants to hear from their therapist they're going to be squeezed in. That's countercultural to
Well, and really from anybody. I feel like unless you broke your arm, like if I broke, I was like,
make room for me, or I need to shrink myself to fit into your squeezed space.
That I think that is the thing, and that's why I keep talking to people about this. I'm like, what is the thing? And that's it. It's like I was required to shrink, get smaller to fit into something. That's what it felt like. Whether that was the reality or not, but
yeah,
in reality, like when do we ever want to feel that way? Like I was saying, like if I broke my arm, yeah, I would hope that there was a doctor that could squeeze me into so that my arm wasn't broken anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
But even that for like the acute pain, but don't squeeze me in on surgery day either, because I would like you awake and fresh. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think it's that whole idea. And I think we're finally speaking up. And I've been talking a lot about this lately. It's come up in a lot of the topics on the podcast and the things I've talked about on the Empowerment Tuesday sessions is adamant about come home to yourself. Don't feel like you've got to make small. Don't feel like you have to shrink yourself to make other people comfortable. No more abandoning yourself. I mean, my language on my, you guys will get a kick out of this. I'm going to pull this up and see if I can share the screen because I have just like, and my friend, I had a friend of mine he's a guy actually. And I'm like, and he's really good at these spaces. And I'm like, Roman, tell me what this looks like to you. Let me see if I can share it. Is there too many of us on here? Well, let me do that. No. Hold on a minute. I'm playing with things live, which is probably always a hazard. Probably shouldn't do that live. I think we might have too many people in here for me to do it. Anyway, it's very like bold. Like you look at my page now, and it's not a soft entry. It's stop abandoning yourself to keep everyone else comfortable. That's the first line, and then I talk a little of what the Embracing Layers Network is. Next major line down: stop overperforming, start living aligned. I'm just like, this is what we're about. This is what we care about. Boom, boom. Stop doing this. Start doing this. Here's your resources. Click on this button. Listen to these conversations. Get this online course. Buy the book. Invite the friend into it. Whatever it is, but stop doing these things. And I think that is exactly. He's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not playing small anymore. All right, Kim, we're going to go to you next. And Tara has been having some technical difficulties today. So she's come in kind of in and out. So Kim, we'll go to you next.
Hi. I keep circling back to this coffee that I had today and all the things, I haven't seen this friend in like a year. And she's like, well, tell me what you're doing these days. And it's just like, oh my gosh, what am I not doing is what it feels like. Right. And, summer's supposed to be a slowdown and I'm technically retired, but no, I'm not, because there's too many things I like to do and too many people I like to see and work with. So, what's going on in my world? We just, my very first podcast that I share with our good friend Rachel Lavin just celebrated its first birthday last Friday. And so that was super. And, we've been brainstorming, how do we like really do this, right? I feel like the first year was just playing around and we have, I don't know, 7 followers and we get more views than that and more downloads, or at least it shows that we do. But what do we do to make a difference in a way that people don't want to miss out, right? And so there's that. And then I have this new podcast that I'm doing, which used to be a guest blog opportunity on my website. And I'm like, people aren't reading, just like people aren't watching a lot. We just get a lot more listeners than we do watchers. And so I thought, I'm going to switch this guest blog to a podcast. And it's been so much fun, just asking questions and then listening to people rather than, Rachel and I we have back and forth banter and we just talk. And sometimes we bring a guest in and it's all 3 of us like trying, which is great. But I love I don't know. I love throwing a question out there and waiting to receive the goodness that comes from this other person. It's been so cool. So, yeah. And I'm working. I felt so busy that I'm slowing my work down and I'm just doing the things like Erin and I are working on together, taking, projects that feel slow and nourishing to me as well, not just busy work. I feel like my 50s have been busy. And as I get closer and closer to that next milestone birthday, I want to ease into it. And I've still got a year to kind of figure it out. So it was good to sit today and just reflect on what's busy, what's been going on, and the parts that I still need in my life, I guess, right? We don't get that very often. Erin, you're going to have to take over. I can't hear you.
Oh my gosh, I'm muted. Melissa's frozen. Tara's out, but we can hear her, and I can't mute her. It just went.
I know.
No,
That's
I love that idea. That theme of slowing down, and that's been such a huge value of mine. That like when I talked about this whole therapy conversation, that was perfect. It's like I don't want crunchy. Like I want to flow in and I want to flow out, and I want to flow with people. And not be in this space of pressure. And even, the deadline for my refresh book, I set it myself. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to miss my own self-imposed deadline. Nobody. So I was like, okay, I get to chill out. And I also know, I just remind myself all the time, the concept of slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Sorry about that,
And
guys.
when I let
Sorry,
myself,
it's abrupt.
Erin took over. It was good.
She knows how to. I've had her do it before.
Yeah. Yes.
And so when I let myself chill out
Mhm.
and slow down, the creativity also comes back. And all of a sudden, so I know, yes, I have been like slow to write for a week. And I know as soon as it comes back,
Mhm.
it's going to come back. And I'm going to get like 3 parts done. It's going to be caught up again because it's going to be this like creative dam that breaks open for me.
Right.
And so I've learned to trust that, to surrender and trust. Surrender and trust.
You're one of 3 authors that I'm working with right now. And it's so important. And you hit the nail on the head when we were corresponding last week. You're like, I'm not willing to push this and to write something that's not what I want it to be, right? You're not going to refresh
It's
it.
shit.
Yeah.
And you can say, I'm not going to write shit.
I'm not going to write shit. Yes. And the same, like one of the authors that I'm working with, this is her first shot at it. She's written great stories. I mean, great stories. They just needed rearranged a little bit. And so like she and I worked on that. But now that she thinks it's done, she's leery. I'm like, print that thing off and take 2 or 3 weeks to read it. And she's like, oh, I have a deadline. Who? I mean, like, really? Are you willing to sacrifice this being something from your heart that helps other people and makes you feel good just to match or just to get it in on time? No, you just ask for an extension and go. Or you work with somebody who ebb and flows with you. I mean, that would be my biggest advice for somebody who is writing and who's going to self-publish. If you want an editor, you want a coach or whatever, I mean, heck, find somebody who doesn't lock you in. And there have to be parameters, right? We all have boundaries. But if you're a creative soul, you've got to work with other people who work the same way. It's so important.
Yeah. Ooh, that's so good. Thanks, guys, for jumping in. I don't know. I looked down and my internet was gone. Who knows? The Monday gremlins of technology. But yeah, thank you for continuing. And Kim, I will tell you in this thought, I can tell when you have space because your blogs really light up. Your blogs on Substack. Follow Kim on Substack. She writes great, really thought-provoking writings on there. And I can tell when you have capacity and space because that's when your blogs really have a lot of meat to them.
Thank you. It's hard though, because the industry is telling us, as we all know, you got to post this many times. And if you're not consistent, no one's going to follow. And if you don't do this and you don't do that, and then you feel like you're forcing.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, like, I got to be honest. If I wrote when I was really inspired, I might hit like 1 blog a month. And, but I've been doing this silly thing. So if any of your audience is writers, every time I sit down to write, I do some whacked, silly prompt, like the food in the refrigerator is rebelling, and they're plotting against you, and thus the gastric upset that you're going to experience because you ignored the good food for whatever. And I mean, like, I just type out something mindless and stupid for 3 minutes that just allows my imagination to start crawling again and then go back into my work. And it's been great. So yeah, highly recommend.
I love that. I would definitely use that, Kim, because I've been in that space of like writer's block for so long. And I don't know if you guys could share, because with the debut book coming out in January, I've been so focused on the marketing and it's kind of steering me away from my main purpose of writing. And I'm getting lost. So like having to reach all of these mile markers for marketing is kind of blurring out the whole mission for this this writing nonfiction. So I'm gonna try that little tip that you gave me.
Yep, and not only does it black out it makes there's no joy in releasing a book when that's all you're focused on. It just stinks. So
yes, you're so right about that. Thank you.
All right, Tara, take off from here while we got you on here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, first I'll get into like basically my daughter, she's 12 now. She's finishing up grade 6 and about to go on summer break. And the last few days I've been feeling a little bit sentimental about, oh my goodness, she's growing up and then she's going to hit this preteen stage and may not want to hang out with me anymore. So I'm having all mixed feelings about it. But a couple of days ago, she kind of knocked on my door before bed and said, do you want to do bedtime story time like we used to? We used to read stories together since she was a little kid, and she would fall asleep that way. And then I was just like, oh my gosh, taken aback because we haven't done it for a couple years now. But we started revisiting old childhood books of hers like Goodnight Moon and Each Peach Pear Plum and just other timeless classics. And so I take time reading a book, and then she would take time reading another book she wanted, and it just brought back such good memories about when she was a little girl. And I thought, why not just really just savor this precious moment right now. Hopefully she'll want to do this throughout the summer, and maybe we could carry on with other books as she gets older. Which we have, but we get into phases where it stops and then it starts again. But I'm thinking about turning it into just like a tradition of ours and seeing how long we can carry that on until she's who knows how old. She claims she's going to be living in the backyard till she's 30 or her whole life. So we'll see how that's going to go. Maybe put a little home there or something. But I'm just savoring that time and the experiences that I'm having, and not trying to like strive to accomplish something too much, but just having that joy of just being and living my simple life, and trying not to want anything else that I think that I don't have in my life right now. Because I do have dreams to travel, and I have that bucket list to see other places of the world. And yeah, just things right now are lending to more of like that whole experience of going on book signings with my book at the local Indigos here in Canada. So I'm just enjoying that. And what I'm really looking forward to is just this whole process right now of exploring and researching content for my second book. So listening to a lot of lectures and reading content from Dr. Wayne W. Dyer and a lot of people in the self-help space, and just trying to get more inspiration from other people who have seen success in that area of writing nonfiction. So yeah, it's a great process, and along the way, I'm making myself the guinea pig of trying different healing modalities, and then writing about that myself, but also looking for people who have tried these different healing modalities and trying to get their stories of what's working for them and what is the experience like, because these can help us with different aspects of our lives. And yeah, it's just a fun exploration. I'm not trying to fit myself in a box of, okay, my second book has to be a bestseller or anything like that. I'm just enjoying the whole experience and trying to just explore as I go along. Yes.
Yeah. I love that time with your daughter, and I love what you said about the presence and the joy of it. Kim literally wrote a blog about this a couple months ago, about saying like those moments. So yeah, if you go to Kim's Substack, like, you'll spot it right away, because I'm like thinking of that blog as you're talking about this time with your daughter. I'm like, and it's so funny because my youngest said that when she was 12 years old too, that she was just like, I've got a pretty good life here. I think I'll just hang with you guys for, ever. And she hasn't, although she is with us right now. But she's not planning on staying forever. She no longer wants to stay forever. But yeah, that time that you can get back, and the way you can connect through stories and shared. But also, I think, credit to you, Tara, she feels safe. She feels safe. And so she can say, oh, maybe I'll stay here till I'm 30, or let's go back. Can we go back and read this time? Because she feels safe. You've created a safe space for her to just say those things and go back in time a little bit to bring it to the present, and also just be who she is in the moment.
Yes, I love it. And it feels nostalgic and sort of surreal at the same time, because I had thought in my mind those precious moments have already sailed by, but we can always bring them back in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So good. Oh my gosh. And I love that I love the idea of like, we don't have to stay. We get this idea we've got to be a certain thing. Like, we're also going to be on the book note, we're going to be starting in the fall, and we're going to really use our Substack to really share these experiences. We're going to be working on volume 2. Volume 1, Embracing Layers Unapologetically, was the first 4 seasons of our podcast the guest reflections that really connected with Jessica, my writer, and I, and gathering them. And each of the chapters is one of our talking points. It's the field framework broken out into chapters. And we do it in different order there, because we have learned as we went along that the way it flows in the podcast isn't necessarily the way it should flow when people are working on it through a book club or with friends, or even differently one-on-one. And so we released that box first. And now as we go back, and Jess is like, gosh, I've been going back and reading, and I'm such a, I've grown as a writer and an author, and I'm like, oh gosh, I would shift that. I'm like, okay, then we shift it. Then we shift it. We get to do volume 2 is whatever we decide we want it to be. And yes, we're going to through, guests 5 through seasons 5 through 10, and adding in their thoughts. And then we're going to use that as our structure. And also any things that we've learned since then, because, like Erin talked about earlier, it's like, oh gosh, I love that woman then, but geez, she had, that wasn't hers to carry. Like, we get to explore the ways we've processed and grown. And so we don't have to stay in these boxes. We can just talk about the ways we've grown, the ways we've shifted, the things that have moved through us. And so whatever we do next, whatever next iteration, gets to be where we are today. It's like what I talked about earlier of, where am I today? Does this reflect where I am today? So I expect that our volume 2 will, while on the outside it'll look similar in the structure of it, I think it's going to be, I'm excited to see it burst with where we are today, not just with the updated guest reflections, but where Jess and I are as we create this and add to this, and the things that we have learned separately and together on this journey. So just such a great reminder from all of you of us, which this is tied in beautifully to this. Think of this time of, approaching halfway through the year as a reflection time, to step back, take yourself out of boxes that feel restrictive. Don't squeeze yourself in, and be mindful of those people who are trying to, not because they mean any ill will, that's not all people have come to a place where they feel comfortable outside of structures. And we need structure. We need some level of organization in our lives. That's like we got to have something we have a framework is necessary. And also the fluidity and flexibility of continuing to grow in who we are, and allowing that to be reflected in all these places and spaces we show up. Okay. Erin, any questions for Tara or Kim?
I mean, Tara got us all with reading stories with their 12-year-old daughter.
Oh my God, I know.
But I love that concept of just adjusting our perspective, because yes, there were special times, but the special times aren't gone. It's like, what's next? Like the fact, I mean, what got me most out of that, her approaching you, say, hey, can we do this like we used to, is amazing. But her reading stories with you, like you reading a book, but then her reading to you, like it's next level evolution. And again, in perspective, because that is such a special thing. And so I love that so much. And then Melissa, in talking about your second version of your book, this is my brain. This is what it's like to live in my brain. It reminded me of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Does anybody watch? Just start with me. It reminded me of DCC. Do y'all watch America's Sweethearts on Netflix?
Well, I've seen enough of it to know. Like, I don't watch it regularly, but I know about. I've watched like the first season. Like, out of curiosity, yeah.
Okay, so if I could have been a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, like when I was little, like I was like, that would be amazing. So I used to watch it when it was on like the country music channel.
Oh, CMT, yeah.
Is making the team. So it's been on for years. Everyone thinks it's all new, but we're like, this has been on forever. But since it's on Netflix. So I watched it season 3 and I watched it and I was like, I mean, it's going to be the same format, just a new round of girls. It is not. It is not the same format. So people go in thinking, okay, it's going to be the same book, same format. And they touch on some things that are the same, but like they don't take the girls and teach them the jump splits and like wait for them to do that. Like, because you know they're going to learn it and you know they're only going to make the team if they can do a jump split. And so they don't take you through the nuance of that. They shifted it and show you different things. And so the ability to do that for you and Jessica to be able to do that with your book, like people know what to expect from the first one, but you can still have that framework. Like you were talking about, we all need a framework and bring in something unexpected and new and growth voices, which are words that don't even make sense. It's hard to believe that I put words together and for a living because but I'm trying to think Jessica's voice has changed and she's learned things and she's a different writer. And so to let it be this living, breathing thing that people watch you grow, I mean, that's your whole platform.
It is.
Learning
really,
and growing. It's your whole platform, learning and growing. So people get to witness that with you. And I think it's like that in all of our work. And, you know, Kim, you talked about it, you know, shifting and growing and yeah, you're working a little bit differently now, but you're doing things that you love and making spaces for things that you love. And you're having so much fun on 2 different podcasts. Yeah. You're doing 2 different podcasts, like, and laughing. The one with you and Rachel, I haven't watched the whole episode, but the clip and it's like your bloopers one and y'all are just hysterical. I'm like, okay, I got to go watch it.
Yeah.
Because you're in a space of joy. And that's what it's all about, is finding the spaces of joy.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. And I think, you know, I want to talk a minute too, before I let you ask questions, Kim. I love how you talked about, you mentioned retirement earlier. I think our generation is really shifting the conversation and some women in the generation ahead of us too. You've started seeing this shift of what retirement looks like. Retirement doesn't look like what it looked like for our grandparents. And you don't just, you know, retire and sit in the rocking chair and, you know, watch the hummingbirds, you know, come by. I mean, I'm literally describing what happened to my grandpa when he retired. And anymore, it's like, well, okay, what am I passionate about? It's about staying engaged and staying alive and pouring your energy and time into those things that fill you up, whatever that looks like. And it can look like the passion projects that you do that can become paid work at times, which you didn't see coming. It can be time you pour into your grandkids. It can be going to that place you never went. It's connecting with those friends, you know, whatever it is. But retirement, I think, has changed too. And I think we have, you know, thinking about these metaphors of growth and meeting yourself where you are, whatever your age is, meet yourself where you are. Don't believe what somebody told you, whether you're 22 or 92 or 62 or anywhere in between. What lights you up? Where do you feel like you want to be present today? How do you want to show up in the world? Allow yourself to be whoever that is in this moment based on who you are, not what someone or some narrative told you you should be.
And, this is what I'm writing about in my second book. And it's not even, it's all those things. It's everything, but it's also not like there's no expectation when we're living in our second act. When you've come full circle and the people can take care of themselves, and maybe you're starting to feel like you don't have a purpose anymore because you're not feeding someone, whatever the thing is. I know it all shifts, but you can take the time to slow down and to really, I like to use the word called. I think a lot of people use different things, but I feel like I've arrived in this time in my life knowing what I was meant to be doing, and everything else was just prep work for this. You know what I mean? And
I know exactly what you mean, because that's exactly how I feel.
yeah, it's and will it make me a millionaire? No. Would it provide for a family? No, probably not. Would it, and does it really matter to the world? Will I ever be famous? No, I don't think so. But there are plenty of people that I touch on a daily basis who need what I have. And that's the best thing about being where we are right now. And as you look at doing a second version that's different, and I'm working with Erin, who's I love that you're not redoing what you wrote in the beginning. I mean, you're letting her live and exist and adding new reflections, which I think is perfect, especially for people that you help. For those who are caregivers or who have been through something traumatic, we always second guess ourselves. We always, but the simple fact is we didn't do it wrong then. We just know more now, or we've experienced different things. And so we each have to do it our own way, and as I sit and listen to Tara, we did it different. I mean, like I missed those moments reading to my kids so much, but my boys were busy, so I had to trick them or create a new game, right? And my boys are 7 years apart, and so books would come out. My oldest wanted to read. I would read them to my youngest, and we would share time. Like, we divide the books up with sticky tabs, and I didn't read to my 13-year-old son. We were doing Harry Potter series, right? Okay, so we'll get very specific. He would read it. I would read it to my younger son as a storybook. And then at breakfast the next morning, we'd talk about it and we'd guess what's going to happen in the next section that we're going to read and who's going to do what. And, so we carried story time in a different way. So I never lost it. And we still, as adults, we get mom chooses a book of the year and everybody gets their own copy and we read it and then we talk about it. And so anyway, just I love hearing other people do their thing.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, that's so good. I love that so much. And I think too, back to and I'll see if we've got Tara here. We might have her on audio. But Erin, I wanted to say that I think to being able to go back and meet that woman where she was at that time, almost it gives you a chance to hug her. It gives her a chance to say, I got you now. We have figured this out since then. We don't have to carry that anymore. So it's also it's not child work because she's an adult, but it's inner healing work. It's inner love work. It is what I talk about in embracing layers, where we acknowledge where we've been. We don't have to love it, but we acknowledge it, we own it, and we move forward and we keep learning. But I think that chance to go back and hug her and let her know I've learned a lot since we came together last time. And the good news is that I've got this and I got you, and we no longer have to spend our energy there. We can do healthier by us now.
And also, you did a great job because you got me here, right? I mean, that's what I keep reading. As I'm reading the first version, I'm thinking, you get to tell her thank you because even though she made mistakes,
Yeah.
even though like older, wiser, more experienced Erin might do it different if it was the first time now, gosh, she got you there. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
good
had the courage to take that first step. She didn't, she knew something needed to be created because she knew no one had created it for her. So she was going to take that bold first step and be that solution. And she didn't let all the stuff stop her from doing that. Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of courage. Okay. Tara, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yes, can hear you.
Okay, great.
Any questions or thoughts for Erin or Kim or me?
Yes. Let's see here. I loved what you said when you mentioned not just doing busy work and then choosing, the right kind of project that works for you at the pace in your life. And I love that so much because, we're not putting so much pressure on ourselves to just say yes to things because they provide an income and all these different things, but be very careful about what projects we're choosing that aligns with our purpose and our core values. And I think us women need to do more of that in our day-to-day life, and it's something we need to teach the younger generations how to do that and how to stay in alignment with, not just taking on busy work, because that's usually what can really burn us out is when we stick to the busy work. So I'm learning that as I go along as well with my freelance work in editing is, just don't take on projects because they appear to you, but take on the ones that, you can really add some value to. So I really love that idea as well. And then, Erin, in terms of you doing your 10th anniversary relaunch of your book, I love that so much. And I'd love to hear how that process goes because I guess some people get the preconceived notion that once a book gets published, that's that. But I love how you're revisiting it and putting your own reflections into, how you're processing those messages now in your life and how much that's going to help so many other people that are going to be faced with some of the challenges that you face. So I just love that. It gives me goosebumps and knowing that your book will help people in different ways in this stage of your life, and congratulations on that. And then Melissa, I just love that you guys are coming up with a second book because I've seen your work evolve so much over these years, and you've helped so many women with different concerns and things that they needed support with. So it's going to be so exciting to see this second book come out of your podcast and all the lessons and stories that your team has learned. And it's so true that we live in different stages of growth and we have different versions of us. So I can't wait to see what versions come out in that content and the stories that you tell for the second book. And yeah, I'm just so excited. I love seeing what other women do, and I love to bring other people to resources that could help them as well. So this lights me up in so many ways, and I can't wait to read all of your books.
Thank you so much, Tara. Yeah. And yours is your book is so thoughtful. So where all of our books, they meet people where they are in different ways. Mm-hmm. And they're a true reflection of us. And yours is everything you do, Tara. Thoughtfulness is what it's always so thoughtful. You're so thoughtful. You're so present. You take in what's going on around you with a lot of wisdom. So So thank you so much. All right. We could talk all day, as we obviously, especially with this group. And to kind of wrap up today for me is we've had different technical difficulties. Tara's had to jump in and out. My internet just flat shut out for a half, but we just kept going. And so the other thing is to don't let the little disruptions, the little potholes, the little roadblocks take you off of what you know you're supposed to be doing. There's going to be bumps along the way. Life is messy and nuanced and full of all kinds of surprises, ones we love, ones we don't. But when you know what you're supposed to be doing and you know you're part of something that's important for you, that's important for the people involved, and that could be important for somebody later on, keep moving forward. Just trust your inner self. Trust that nudge. Don't discard her. She's there to guide you. She was given to you. We were created with this for a purpose. So don't dismiss her. Pay attention to what she has to say and keep taking that next step forward. Ladies, thank you so much, as always, for joining me today. I'm going to give you a chance for one last thought each as we go, and then all the wonderful ways you can follow these fabulous women will be in the show notes. Erin, one last thought from you.
One last thought. You don't have to squish yourself into anything.
Yes.
Let yourself be free and let yourself flow. And you can connect with me on my website at erincopeland.com.
Kimmy, how about you?
I wrote down words as we were talking, and everything has a re in front of it. I just found that curious today. So I guess my one last thought would be nothing's forever. You can refresh, redo, rewrite, redirect, reflect, whatever you want, right? Become who you want to be. And if you want to really know what I think, check out my Substack or one of my podcasts. I just lay it all out there. Anyway.
Yeah.
Happy,
great day. I love talking to you girls.
Thank you. Tara, how about you?
Yes, I'd just like to say, just do what brings you peace. Life's short, and just live in the flow with harmony. So if there's something that you really desire for yourself that brings you that peace, stay in alignment with that and try to get in touch with that on a day-to-day basis in however simple way you can. And just watch the blessings start to pour into your life. And you can reach me at tarasweetawakening.com.
All right. Thank you. All right. And then I think for me, this really came, I literally this weekend on my Instagram stories took a snapshot of the homepage of our website, and it's like, take a look of how our refresh and renew. And that goes with what Kim said, is like, take this time to refresh. Take this time to renew. Meet yourself where you are. And as we wrap it up, you are worthy, you are valuable, and you get to choose. You get to choose this for you. Go to embracinglayers.com. Everything we've got going on is there. All the links to all of our socials. Go join our Substack. I think I'm in the midst of creating something really special there. Join us on this journey. Become one of our 500 paid subscribers. Let's create a tribe and a community. You spend $5, sometimes daily, on that Starbucks. I'm pretty sure you got $5 to invest in yourself a month. $50 a year if you want to get the discount, like $417 a month. You essentially get 2 months for free. But yes, that supports our work. And that's one of the things when people ask me what supports your work, I'm like, that simple thing, if this does support our work. And also I think we can build on what we've already got there and really start having the next iteration for me is where we come together, not just on these panels, but in community where there's tens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of us coming together and meeting and sharing and growing and supporting each other and creating these safe spaces together. So take good care of yourselves this week. I thank you for staying with us through all the bumps along the way. Life is bumpy, but it's also beautiful. So enjoy the bumpy and beautiful and take care of yourself. We'll be back next week. I can't remember what the theme is for next week. I think it's actually showing, is Erin, you signed up for this. I think it's showing up for each other unapologetically. Does that sound right?
Yes. Or the importance of not abandoning yourself.
That might be the full part. Yeah, it might be that. It might be that. It's a mystery.
Something like that. I'll be here.
I'll be promoting it next week. Erin signed up for it. We'll be back. Thank you all for joining me today. You're treasures. I love you all. Take good care of yourselves this week, and we'll be back next Monday on Together We Feel.